Look, I'm going to say it right off the top. I love Rudy. I love Alpha Investments. I love the channel. But the type of mentality that Rudy has and he puts out there is very toxic. And we need to talk about it. But first, before we get started, you guys already know it's time for today's sponsor. It's us, Cardinal Gaming. Check out the website, cardinalgaming.com. If you're looking for singles, we got the new cut inventory and the middle of town inventory right here at the top. Scrolling on down this way, we have 151 pre-orders up. We have Wilds Well Drain up if you're interested in Magic stuff. Come on, check out the page. If you want to buy some stuff, we greatly appreciate it. That's it. That's all we got. No merch. We're kind of revamping the website, so more on that very, very soon. But I'll let you guys go. Okay, bye. Hello, everybody. Mason here, Cardinal Gaming. Appreciate you clicking on the video, supporting the channel, supporting the store. You guys always do. All right, let's get into it. We're going to talk Rudy today. I know. It's almost sacrilege. I mean, look, I'm a fan. I have a shirt. I've been a long-time supporter of Rudy. But we need to have a conversation about not Rudy himself. He's an entertainer. He's crazy. And he has a ton of product. And is just sleep, eats, breathes magic. And sealed product of all kind, honestly. But we need to realize that Rudy's not the problem. Rudy is not the source of this negative energy and this negative thinking that's out there. It is everybody else. You are not Rudy. I'm not Rudy, even though I know it's. Everybody thinks this is real. Y'all know this is a green screen, right? This is not real. This is literally from a Rudy video that I took and just before he got in the frame and sat down. Like it's all fugazi and fairy dust, okay? But we are not Rudy. Rudy has ascended to a different plane of being that you and I can no longer touch without investing millions and millions and millions of dollars into what he's got going on. Rudy has entrenched himself into the type of business that you and I can't just do. It'd be very difficult and take a huge amount of cash to do that. And it's too far gone. We can't. He also started forever ago, right? Like he's been doing this for forever. So it is to a point to where we can't be Rudy. Rudy is fun to watch, and it's fun to watch him do crazy things, but we're not Rudy. And the type of mentality that Rudy exudes, it's entertainment, right? It's all for funny, but the logic that Rudy uses and is successful with, the rest of us are not going to be successful with. And I see the type of same like bravado and like, hey, I got cases of this, I'm going to sit on it, I'll be a mini Rudy and I'm just going to hoard. That is so not how you should be making money or like thinking of this product. And sure, if you don't need the money and if you have nothing else to do with it and if you want to throw it in a sealed product and have it sit there and maybe go up, and again, this is whether you're talking Magic, Pokemon, whatever, doesn't matter. If you don't have to worry about the money, okay, sure. I'm talking about the rest of us. And I'm included in this. This is not something I do. But we would be better off doing something else with that capital. Whether it's starting a business, any sort of business flipping or buying things and reselling them and things like that. There's better ways to use your money and put it into other things that would yield you more gains than sealed product would. For as long as sealed product would take, again, no matter what it is, it's going to take time for something to happen. You can't just buy things, let it sit there, and hope that it goes up. And quickly, and exponentially. That's not how this works. That's how it's been the past couple years with Pokemon and everybody that is hoarding all the stuff. Oh, I'm going to sit on a couple cases of Lost Origins and wait and see what happens. That's fine. But everything else and the rest of the history of these products, it doesn't mature 6 months, 12 months later. It just doesn't. That's not the norm. And if you're expecting to double, triple your money in that short time frame, it's not realistic. You're better off doing something else with that money. And that's the type of mentality that is I see it all the time, and it's silly. It's a silly way of thinking. We used to do the same thing. We used to pull the Rudy, buy some stuff, take a couple cases, put it in the back, and sell off the rest of it. And this is exactly what Rudy does with his Patreon. He sells enough product for him to cover his expenses, or pretty close, and then the rest of it's like sitting on it for free, right? Even though he's only making $5-10 a box, or whatever. If it's $30 a case, $40 a case, he's buying hundreds of cases of things, pallets of things. So it makes sense for him to sell it off very, very cheaply as soon as possible when the hype is there, when he knows the buyers are going to be there, get rid of it, and then the rest of it is basically free or very, very cheap, where there's no risk, and it can just sit there and mature and just wait for something to happen. And there are instances where things are short printed, where things come out and there's not enough of it to go around. I'm looking at Youre No, and that if you sit on it for a little bit and just let it sit, yes, short term you can make a lot of money. But that is not the norm. That is not the norm for standard sets. That's not a norm for a vast majority of the sealed product out there. So we need to take a seat back, take a look back, and kind of relax and do something else with the rest of your money. Because we found as well, we were putting all those cases in the back, letting them sit there, and that's exactly what they did. They sat there. And we learned that instead of taking that $3-4 grand and letting it sit there, we're far better off buying collections, buying other sealed products, selling that product, and being able to get more allocations worth, and buying more of the products that we can sell in the store, and then you could wrap that up into more and more profits and just snowball it. And month after month after month, that same money that would be normally sitting in that sealed product, we've multiplied, but organically, and with doing the work that we've already been doing, but just we have that much more capital to work with now. And that's how businesses grow. You take your profits and you roll it into the next thing, and you buy the more, and you keep rolling it together. That's how you grow as a business. You don't grow as a business by putting money into an object and letting it sit there for years. That's dead money to you. You got to pay taxes on that because it's inventory that you're sitting on. It's not a good way to go and run a business if you are doing this as a business. You're far better off taking that money and doing something else with it. And again, Rudy's great because he's an anomaly. He's a normal guy, just super fixated on something, right? And he has a following, he has a channel, he has people that listen to him and trust his advice. I trust his advice for a lot of things, and I think he's very smart and can predict the market pretty well. But even there can be a tinge of self-fulfilling prophecy when you say something, when you have a big following, and you kind of see a trend going, and then you go, and you make a video about it. Oh, this is underpriced, or this is on the move. There's only this many boxes on TCGPlayer. It's getting ready to explode. When you say that stuff, even if 1% of his audience went and bought stuff, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy where, wow, that product jumped $50, $60, $100, all because of something he made a video about and talked about. It happens all the time. He makes videos and he talks about things all the time. He doesn't care that he manipulates prices. Not manipulated. I don't think he's saying things for his own personal gain. I think he's very savvy. He watches the market. He looks at stuff and sees how this moves, and then makes a video about it. And then it enhances whatever that is. So I think that it's not for his own personal gain, but he does wield a lot of power, and he can say a lot of stuff where he can kind of predict things, and then it happens, and he's like, oh, see? But it's because he has an audience that is watching him and is going to do what he says something is going to do, and then it does it for him. So there's a lot of that, and again, Patreon helps him exponentially just because he has a built-in buyer base. As soon as something releases, he can sell it immediately within hours to his patrons. With his patrons, they're already paying him a monthly salary, basically, and then he makes Like I said, not a lot. I know the prices, and even if he's buying pallets of stuff, he's still not making great margins. Trust me. He's making enough where it makes sense to still do, but he's not getting rich off of flipping things into Patreon. He's really not. But it definitely does help pay the bills and pays off the product that he does end up keeping, if he ends up keeping, 100 cases, 200 cases, whatever he does. And it's all very, very low cost basis that way. So, yeah, he's built his business enough up to where he can buy pretty much as much as he wants of any product and buys things for super cheap because he has the bankroll to do it, and he gets into things super, super cheap. And I hear this a lot, and I want to tack this on the end and say, a lot of people say, and even Rudy has said it, it doesn't matter where you get in at. Whether you get on when something's $90 or $120, it doesn't matter, right? Because if it goes up, it goes up. No matter where you are along it, you're still making money. Yes, that is true. But again, if it goes up along the way and you get in it at 3 months and then it goes up 10%, but it took another 3 months for that to happen, and then that's when you got in. That low cost basis where you are making more money, again, that window that you had that money, you could have been doing other things with it. So it does matter if you pay more for something, and then if time-wise you are into something for a shorter amount of time or a longer amount of time. It does matter because, again, you could be doing other things with that money. So just think about that when you look at something and something is on the uptrend and people are like, well, it's too late, I already missed the boat. You're probably actually in the best case scenario, because if you want to short something to where you buy something and then watch the market to where it might crest if it continues higher, you're probably better off having that money in that object or the product for a shorter window and then flipping in at the height, even if you make any amount of money, right? If you make 15%, but you only had the product for, a month. That's way better than sitting on it for 6 months and then having to sit there stagnant for the first 5 before it starts to take off, right? So, again, there's a lot of weird observations with well, as long as you got in, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter when you got in it. It kind of does. It kind of does. And again, you sitting on a product and having it lay flat for 6 months, that is poor use of your money. That is poor use of any sort of utility capital that you have. That again, you could be using for other things. So Rudy doesn't care. Again, he's already paid off the stuff with his Patreon. It's free. It's sitting there with nothing into it. So he's okay with sitting on for it forever. It doesn't matter. Again, he was stuck with that Pokemon stuff and then this Pokemon bathroom. Notorious video. I'll touch on this and I'll let you guys go. But he would have got, and did, for years, he's got destroyed. Had money sunk into that, couldn't get it out of it. It was not moving up in price. In fact, it was going down in price because there's so much saturation of that product. And it's such a dead, worthless product. Ancient Origins, not Phantom Forces, Fates Collide, all that late X and Y era kind of stuff, early Sun and Moon, just really bad and a bloat of product where there's just not a lot of buyers for that stuff because the product was really bad. People always say, "Oh, Fates Collide, I love Fates Collide." No, nobody loves Fates Collide. But if you like Fates Collide, go down in the comments and tell me you love Fates Collide and why you love it. But he was doomed on all that product. That's why he dumped it and was like, "Okay, I can't sell it. I'm gonna sit on it. It doesn't matter. I have so little into it, and I got it for cheap. Who cares?" Rudy is not you. You are not Rudy. I'm not Rudy. Nobody's Rudy. Rudy is Rudy, and nobody can be like Rudy. So just know that for every product that was a boom, and yeah, he won on, he's also sitting on a bunch of stuff. And he said in a couple videos here recently, he's down millions on some sealed product because of the way the Magic is run and all the stuff that he's sitting on, and it's just stagnant. It's not moving. It's there, and there's no reason to tap it out because he's basically in it for free. But there's also not a huge market for it, and if he did go to sell it, it'd destroy the market for it right then and there because there's too much of it. So things to think about, things I see people talk about on Discords and on Facebook and things like that. Just everybody wants to be Rudy. You're not going to be Rudy. You can't be Rudy. We're not Rudy. There's only one, and that's probably a good thing. All right, appreciate you guys watching the video. Thanks for clicking. Thanks for hanging out. And yeah, go down in the comments and say what's your favorite sealed product that has moved in 10 months is. All right, I appreciate you all. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.